Hello there guys, RMP792 here, and it's been a little while since I've done one of these vlogs, so I figured, what the hey, might as well get another one done, just waffle for something for sort of, 10-15 minutes. So I am Denard, came up with a topic eventually, so Knights of the Fallen Empire. For anyone who's not aware, Star Wars The Old Republic came out a few years ago, and I have been playing it ever since. I actually pre-ordered it and got it, if memory serves, I got into the pre-release stuff on the second day. So, actually no, I might have been the first day, because I was, because they staggered the initial launch so that people who pre-ordered got it, got in a few days early relative to the general public, simply to help them stagger the launch. And to be fair, the launch was still a bit problematic because MMO launches are always dodgy, but regardless. So yes, I actually got in early enough that I Bagsied the name Jennifer for my main character, after Jennifer Hale, who plays her, because my main character is a Republic trooper. But anyway, so The Old Republic certainly has a lot of problems. I would never deny that, but I maintain it's a good, solid MMO. It probably helps that I haven't really played many MMOs before, so that particular brand of combat isn't one that I was already bored of. So, as a result, I don't mind the fact that the combat's a bit dull, because at the end of the day, it's got really good stories. All 8 of the class stories are well worth playing. And the voice acting is excellent, and just overall it was pretty solid. About a year later, Rise of the Hutt Cartel came out. That was, it was okay. It was decent. Then what was the next one? It was the something of Revan. Anyway, and that was again pretty decent. Added stuff, but didn't add that much. Could have done with adding a bit more. The latest one, which is only available to subscribers, is Knights of the Fallen Empire, which they basically said really is trying to go back to classic BioWare storytelling, and yeah, it is. It really is. I've played through up to the end of Chapter 9, which is all that's available at the moment, with my main character, my Republic Trooper Jennifer. And I can be pretty positive about it overall. It's got problems. I'm gonna discuss the plot, but I won't go into specific spoilers for Rise of the Emperor, for Knights of the Fallen Empire, but I will have to talk about the stuff that led up to it. So, in each of the class storylines, you do some stuff that fighting either fighting for the Republic or fighting for the Sith Empire. Then, of course, in Rise of the Hutt Cartel, that sort of continued, and you had the planet Makeb with the Isotope 5 stuff. Then, in the Revan expansion, the two sides ended up having to work together a bit, because, of course, the Sith have realised that their Emperor is completely insane and wants to destroy all life to make himself some sort of immortal godlike being. And so Darth Maul and Satele Shan put together a sort of alliance of basically players from both sides, and you eventually you defeat Revan, and the Emperor comes back. Then there was a prologue campaign to Knights of the Fallen Empire, which is, I can't remember what the planet's called, but it's basically set on this planet, and the Sith Emperor is there, and he's basically taking control of people and getting them to kill each other, and all of this is an attempt to boost his own power. And that basically ends with him using, I'm assuming, the same power that he used on, can't remember the name. I'd have to dig out my copy of the book Revan to find the planet's name. To be fair, it's just over there. It's just behind like 6 things. But no. So that basically happens. All life on that planet gets destroyed, and the Emperor's a bit smug about it, and he sort of vanishes. And then you begin the Knights of the Fallen Empire campaign, which basically begins with you arriving on Darth Maul's ship. Put it this way, I don't know if there's significant differences for other classes, because I haven't got round to playing it as the other classes yet. My Sith Sorcerer Irulan is, well, ready to start it, but I haven't actually started it with her yet. But playing through it as my trooper, and yes, more than half of my characters on the Old Republic are female characters, because that's just the way I play. But anyway, so what was I? Yeah. So you arrive on Darth Maul's ship. Would you believe that is a friend of mine who's been bugging me to upload a vlog? There we go. So he'll actually feature in this. Hello. Anyway, so yes, put that on mute. So anyway, he's completely derailed my train of thought. Oh yeah. So you arrive on Darth Maul's ship, and you're hunting for the Emperor in an area known as Wild Space, which is sort of, it's a bit on the edge of the galaxy. Nobody goes there because the hyperspace routes around there are a bit dodgy. And then you get attacked by this massive fleet of ships, because why wouldn't you? So you end up getting captured, and along with Mara, and you'll get brought before the the Eternal Emperor of the Eternal Empire, which is housed on Zakuul, who is master of the Eternal Fleet, because these people really need to tone down the use of the word eternal. But anyway, and you realise that the Emperor there is the same Sith Emperor you've been chasing, and for some reason, and I still don't know why at this point, he's basically created a second empire. It's almost like he was testing out what did and didn't work with the Sith Empire, and then taking the stuff that did work over to the Eternal Empire. So from there, you basically end up having to form a big alliance in order to fight back and stop them, and it's all good stuff. It is very well done. It's very cinematic. You end up with this, I won't say impressive ship, because it's really not a pretty ship. It's called the Gravestone, but it's a solid looking ship, and it's pretty powerful, and it's kind of fun to look around it and see what's going on there. So at the moment, we don't know where it's all going, because it's getting released in bits and pieces, sort of individual chapters at a time, over the course of... it's theoretically over the course of the whole of 2016. We don't know how many chapters we'll get at the end and things like that, but... Oh, actually, no. I'm sure they've said how many it is, but I can't remember. Regardless. But no, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm very curious to see where it goes. A few theories at the moment. The Eternal Empire's technology has to be based on Rakatan stuff, right? Given that it seems to be very far in advance of what the Republic and the Empire have, to the point where the Eternal Empire is kicking the arses of both sides. Their stuff has to be based on Rakatan tech. At the same time, the Gravestone definitely has to be Rakatan tech, so I'm wondering if the Gravestone is actually a Rakatan ship, whereas the Eternal Empire stuff is just based on Rakatan technology. And if you don't know the history of the Star Wars universe, or at least of the expanded universe, since it's kind of not canon anymore. Anyway, you've got basically a hell of a long time ago, you had the Rakatan Empire, who basically, they were the first galactic spanning empire. They were very powerful force users. They created some pretty incredible technology, including the Star Forge, which basically drains matter straight from a star and constructs it into war droids, warships, everything they needed. The Star Forge was, of course, the big thing for Knights of the Old Republic, and yeah, it was really impressive. And you blew it the hell up, because why wouldn't you? The next war... But the Rakatan Empire's problem basically came about when I think there was a plague that started killing them off, and it killed off most of their really powerful Force users, and a lot of Rakatan technology was kind of tied to the Force in this weird way, so that unless you were a Force user, you couldn't use it, which meant that when their Force users started dying out, they stopped being able to use their technology, and they eventually regressed, and their vast empire fell completely, to the point where there's only there's a few ruins here and there, some leftover bits of technology, and on Rakata Prime, which is sometimes known as the Unknown World, are the only living examples of the species, and they're dying out. And they're dying out in the period that Knights of the Old Republic is set in, so by the time we reach the films, they're almost certainly long gone. So, many, many thousands of years later, the various races that had previously been Rakatan slaves eventually developed their own technology, their own hyperdrives, and they start poodling around the galaxy. That's one of the reasons. There's a fan theory that that's kind of the reason that human beings are in the Star Wars galaxy, other than obviously cost reasons and things like that. It's one of those things that nerds, we love to find ways that stuff makes sense in the real world. So one of the theories is that the other Rakatans basically, for some reason, poodled over to our galaxy, kidnapped a whole bunch of humans, poodled back, and then those humans became effectively the dominant species in the Star Wars galaxy. I don't care about that personally, but either way. So yeah, brief history of the Star Wars universe. So I'm strongly suspecting that Rakatan technology has to be involved, and what I will say is they've focused back in on the characters, they've focused in on the writing, the stuff that BioWare has always excelled at. And it is very, very good. There's lots of really good moments. There was one particular moment that's a spoiler that I'm not going to give away, but if you've played it, you know what I'm talking about. The moment that just made me really hate the villain and really pissed me off. I am going to I am going to get... No, I'm not going to tell you because it's a spoiler, but if you played it, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm ticked off about that. And I really like... Because there are effectively two main villains at the moment. And one of them in particular, the female villain, is crazy. And she's having so much fun with the role. It's always nice when you can tell that actors are really enjoying playing a role, and she is, what's the old expression? 10 pounds of crazy in a 5-pound bag. So she is nuts, and she's having fun with it, and it really does work. The villains are pretty good. The supporting cast is pretty good. I like the fact that they're letting us recruit effectively an alliance made up of squad members from pretty much every character class. I'll be curious to play through it as different characters to know. So, for example, when I went to recruit M14X, he just immediately was like, "Yes, of course I'll join you. You're my boss." He was very happy to come with me. Whereas I suspect if I go and try and recruit him while playing as Irulan, who is, as I mentioned, my Sith Sorcerer character, he's probably going to be less happy about it, and I'll probably have to go through a quest chain to get him. Whereas at the same time, if I recruited Zalix, I had to actually fight him to prove my worth. I suspect that if I was playing as Irulan, who of course he already knows, I suspect I wouldn't have to go through that fight. So I'll be curious to replay it and see what differences those make and things like that. But no, generally it's a good expansion. I'll be curious to see where it all goes. It's one of those classic, I'm hoping they can stick the landing, which is always the problem with sort of episodic type content, where if it starts off pretty good and then goes a bit wonky in the middle and then tails off towards the end, you always feel a bit bad. So we will see. I will be keeping an eye on it. I'll continue to play the chapters as they come out, and I think that's basically it for my thoughts on Knights of the Fallen Empire. It's good, it's solid, it has a lot of potential, and I'm curious to see where they go with it. So, yeah, I think that's it for this vlog, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next.